Okay, so here we are in Tasmania, and here we have
Jason Lowe.
Jason Lowe. How you going, mate?
I'm good.
Fantastic place here. Some lovely animals, reptiles. Whereabouts are you located in Tasmania?
Sorrel, so down the southeast of the state, just south of the airport.
Not far from the airport, no. Hobart. Fantastic. What do you do? Breeder, private keeper?
Just private keeper.
Private keeper, not breeder.
Look, we breed a little bit. It's always part of the goal of keeping, reptiles. I suppose they're happy if they're reproducing.
Doing their natural thing, natural cycle. How long have you been keeping for?
Reptiles in general was just about over 20 years.
20 years. Oh, yeah. Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what species do you have here, and do you concentrate on?
We concentrate on tiger snakes and copperheads, but we do have blue tongues. We've got a white lip, various small skinks, white skinks and she oaks, mountain dragons.
Oh, so a good diversity. That's pretty much just about everything here.
A lot of the stuff you can keep here. There's a heap of smaller skinks which no one really keeps here, but yeah.
And licenses are different here compared to other places. So when animals are taken from the wild, so how exactly does it work? So you get a license or a permit?
Get your permit, yep. So you send your form off, get your permit back, and then
that's through the government?
Through Dipipwi down here, and you're free to go and grab up to six adults of each species from the wild.
That's right, wow. It still blows my mind. I'm from Victoria. Every state and territory is different in Australia and probably around the world.
I don't necessarily 100% agree with it. It works in our favour when we want to go and grab some breed stock to try and breed with, get some new genetics, or you see something really nice, you can bring it home, which you guys can't do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it has led to a lot of animals getting over-herped as well in some spots. Like, it's really hard.
It can be a hard thing to police too from the government.
Yes, it is.
That's I think the biggest thing.
And people don't appreciate their animals quite as much sometimes.
That's
because
right.
They can just go and get another one.
And on that note, can you release animals?
Yes, you can, but they've got to be in the place of capture or as close to.
If you breed them, can you release them?
Yes, the neonates can be released at the capture site of the parents.
Okay, so it's pretty cool. I've never asked anyone that question.
And you're not supposed to crossbreed sort of
that locality
animals.
With that one.
If you do, then you want to keep the neonates and not release those, obviously.
Try and get those bloodlines pretty solid out there in nature, just in case there is a problem. And is there any specifically you specialise in with the snakes or lizards?
I wouldn't say we specialise. We do just have a strong focus on trying to captive breed and raise, not for any purpose than for our own collections, really.
So here you can't sell animals, you can't buy animals.
Any surplus stocks is basically given away, distributed through, whatever avenues we can down here, given away at herp clubs and whatnot.
And pet shops don't sell any?
No, they do supplies only, food, heating, enclosures, that sort of stuff, but you won't find a reptile in a pet shop down here.
So it's pretty easy to get rats and mice and insects and bugs?
Relatively, yeah. There is, COVID proved to be difficult. I breed my own rats.
I think that was for everyone around Australia and around the world, actually.
And freight is the
So you breed your own, rodents?
I breed my own rodents, yeah.
Can't beat that because you know what you're putting in them. And
I know the sizes, when you do an order, you don't always, some places are pretty good with their sizing, but some aren't.
Sometimes a large is a small.
Yeah.
And it's very expensive in those shops.
With our elapids, especially the copperheads, because they're so small, you really need tiny pinkies to get some of them started. So being able to just hand pick the smallest pinkies out of a litter, as opposed to ordering 150 and only 10 of them are tiny.
Exactly, yeah. It's great. And is that much effort doing the rodents? Sometimes it is for people, sometimes it isn't. I think it's about your scale and your system.
Yes.
And
I have tried to find ways to make it less time demanding. I do find sometimes I probably spend more time in there than with the reptiles at times, but I try and work it so that our reptiles, pretty well even my indoor stuff, sleeps over winter. They have their torpor because it's still good for their natural, keep the cycle going.
Yep.
And then I focus on breeding lots of rodents through the winter.
So you have nothing in captivity? Your animals are all outside, or most of them? How's that?
Yeah, most of them are outside.
Yep.
I have enclosures for a lot of the smaller skinks and whatnot inside.
And all the snakes and stuff handle the cold, obviously good, because they do in the wild here. It gets, in Tasmania, it gets very, very cold, freezing, and very, very hot.
In that pit.
So I'm amazed how hot it actually gets here in summer. But if you don't come in summer, it's pretty much very cold. Is that right?
Yes, very cold.
So snow in the pits and they're fine?
Yep, they're fine. Obviously we get a little bit concerned about them, but they handle it fine.
So same with in Victoria, I suppose. It's not getting wet.
Yeah.
Keeping that dampness away,
Yep.
keeping them dry. It's not
Yep.
really the cold.
No.
It's just that,
So
that
our
dampness.
hide boxes, are, those wooden hide boxes as you would have seen.
Yep.
Nice tin lid. Try and just keep them nice and dry in there,
Off
and
the
they
ground.
should be fine. Yep.
Well, thanks very much for having us. So it's very windy, so I'm not sure how this is going. We do have some people around chit-chattering, but it's all good. We've got to do what we can do when we can do it. But thanks for having us here and coming on our show. First of all, we have a couple of questions we ask everyone. What's your favourite reptile? It can get hard.
Favourite reptile?
Well, sometimes it's easy.
It is easy. I have to say the copperhead. A lot of keepers struggle with those.
So we have the highland copperheads. You don't have them here.
No, we've got the superbus down here.
So you got your lowlands,
Yep.
which is we have them as well in Victoria. I'm from Victoria, and that's your favourite.
Yep, definitely the favourite. Just a good range of colours, and they're harder to get started in captivity. They're a real pain for the first, 6, 8, even 10, 12 weeks.
Same on the mainland.
Yes, but
Yeah.
once you get them going, they're the best feeders.
Definitely not a beginner snake. If someone says they are, they're definitely not. They can be.
Very
They can just
finicky.
stop too.
Yep. You can get them feeding and then they just switch off as well. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
once they're going, they never refuse.
So we had an albino one on the mainland, not far from me, or probably an hour away.
Yep.
Any albino copperheads here?
Not that I've seen.
Have you
I've
seen any pictures of?
No.
Oh, I'll show you
I've
some.
seen the tiger and the red belly, and that's about it. So.
No worries, I'll show you some. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually know the person that you started it. Anyway, thanks once again. And we have one more question. If you could go anywhere in the world for, I won't say a working holiday, because this show's coming under private keeper / breeder.
Yep.
Not that you breed. If you could go anywhere in the world for a herping trip, where would you like to go? It can be Australia, or Tasmania, or it could be New York.
Yeah, look,
Not
I
there's much there.
haven't been over to Indonesia and Komodo and that sort of stuff.
Mate,
So
you have to get
King
over
Cobra, big ass dragons. What's not to like?
You have to get over there. Absolutely, one of my favourite places,
Yeah.
especially Bali. It's fantastic. Thanks very much, mate.
No worries at all.
Thanks.
These are all tiger snakes and copperheads. We're only allowed to keep the 3 species in Tassie, as I'm sure most people are aware. We try and have a strong focus on captive bred and raised. Majority of snakes are captive bred. There is a couple of wild caughts in here, mainly the females, especially from King Island, which this one here is a nice example of. Just going to disappear. Purely to try and get some breed stock and some fresh genetics into what we're doing. This is the female pit, and it has 2 wild caught female copperheads in here, which this is one of. She's quite a nice red when she comes out fresh in slough at the start of the season and darkens up over the summer. There is 1 wild caught tiger in here from Lake Sorrel, which is a large scale Tasmanian variety. And there's a couple of captive bred female tigers, and there's a captive bred male King Island copperhead, which you'll see pictures of in the video, no doubt.
Benefits of keeping them outside.
Keeping them outside, look, it's just, in every way it's better. You don't have to, while you've got to try and provide the right conditions in there, you've got to keep an eye on that it doesn't get too hot, it's not too barren. This might look a little overgrown, but they actually really like it like that. Indoors, you've got to be right on the ball, keeping it cool, keeping it hot, providing all your gradients, and they get the natural day-night cycle. And as far as breeding goes, you get your winter, they torpor for winter. We leave them in here in this big insulated hide box, and they come out and hopefully do their thing each season. Seems to be a difference between snakes that breed, all our snakes mate in autumn generally. It seems to be easier to breed snakes indoors that mate in spring, because you can give them a torpor and when they wake up they know it's time to go, but the cues aren't quite the same for these guys.
How do they handle the cold?
The cold, fine, they love it. We will often come out here and it's like 14 degrees and drizzling, and they'll be curled up on the rocks Obviously through winter they go into the hide box or underneath some of the logs. The biggest thing is making sure they're not wet. Cold is fine, they don't want to be cold and wet. We probably have bigger issues on the hot days, to be honest, just making sure they don't get too hot. Yeah, so the boy pit over here, it's much the same. Slightly different substrate in this, which means it dies off quicker when it gets a bit warmer. This, again, is nearly all captive bred. What's in here? There's the West Coast boy. Is that it? So there's about 10 snakes in here, and they're pretty well all captive bred. This is a Flinders Island. I'm not going to be able to get him. No. He's going to elude me for a second. This is a Lake Sorrel, which is the son of the... this other king boy that you haven't seen yet's here, if I get him to come out. He thinks it's feeding time now. So he's not little by Victorian standards either. So when were they born, Chris? That would have been 2015, 2016, something like that? Yeah, so April Fool's Day nearly. Yeah, so he's only coming up on 7 years old. We do like king copperheads, particularly not only because of their adult size but their neonate size. So, and they are slightly larger when they're born. They've got a better gape and a bigger head, and they take to pinkies a lot quicker. We find the very small neonates from the Tassie copperheads are really hard to get going indoors in captivity. I'm not sure what else we can find in here. It's a perfect example of what I was saying about the heat. Like, it's not a particularly hot day by most people's standards, and yet these guys they've gone and hidden for the day pretty well. Yep. These are just basically all the smaller blueies, various years. They're all Tassie locals or King Island again. We got some blueies when we were over getting some copperheads. I wouldn't say they're all overly friendly. We don't have a big focus on handling. We tend to just keep and raise and let them do their thing. Reptiles don't need to be handled, they don't need cuddles. Yeah, so various stages and sizes of neonates here up to subadults, which this guy's starting to get a little bit of size on him. It just keeps them out of the way of all the bigger blue tongues in the next pit. Most of these guys are probably hiding again. There's a few nice examples. That's actually a Bruny Island, so that's down towards the south of Tassie. And I think there's one other from Bruny in there, which is this girl. Oh no, that's a Flinders actually. It's never got a lot of size on it. I caught her the same time I caught the mother of the boys, so 2014. So she's been in captivity nearly 10 years on her own, so obviously keeping them outdoors seems to work. It's just various. The boys are a bit beat up where they've been hammering each other, but they've got over that now. Hold her for a second. Come out from under there, you lot. Hey? Doesn't look any good.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah. It's an interesting one with the GT stripes going on. Something a bit different. Nice pale head. I probably should have mentioned that that's our little tool that we use for feeding, so don't have to climb in the pits every time you want to feed. We just grab a mouse or a rat with that over the side, and it takes a little while to train them, but they pretty well come to us for their food once they realise what's going on.
What do you feed them?
Mice and rats, yeah, so just frozen thawed mice and rats. We try and do a small feed weekly. Of obviously time commitments and whatnot doesn't always allow that, but we find just a weekly 1 or 2 rats per animal of a reasonable size is better than trying to load them up every fortnight or 3 weeks or something like that.
What do you feed the blueies?
Blueies get mostly canned dog food, but they get, when we do the rats and mice, we cut the front legs off. A few reasons for that. Makes it easier to digest because they've got a hole through the skin, and obviously lets larger prey fit down their mouth. So these guys tend to get all the legs as well. They love them. I don't know. Yeah, so there's the big Bruni girl underneath the other Bruni girl.